Hello, good evening, everyone. Greetings. I just wanted to do a little video on here. I just opened this channel. Uh, I don't really have any expectation of it, but really, I started this channel because I'd like to ask the question, you know, who or how many people out here in the body of Christ are studying the Bible and looking at everything that's happening in the world today and connecting dots and wondering if we're living in the last days. And the first video that I put on here was, unrelated. It was about a necklace that I bought, a silver necklace that I bought, and that I did a little video about. But, you know, one of the things that the Bible talks about is in Revelations, basically everything coming to a fever pitch in Israel, where the 70th week of Daniel begins, the time of Jacob's trouble, the 7-year tribulation. And in that 7-year tribulation, what we expect as readers of the Bible is that there's going to be a one world government, and that there's going to be famine, that there's going to be a mark of the beast, that people are going to have a mark in their hands and foreheads to make transactions, that the economy is going to be collapsing. It says in Revelations, a measure of wheat for a penny and a measure of barley for a penny, and do not hurt the oil or the wine. And a penny was the daily wage in those in that Roman time. So what that's basically describing is a worldwide inflation, right? When it says kingdom should rise against kingdom and nation against nation, that's describing world wars. We've already had, and there's been times where there's been empires that have basically taken over the entire known world. But, those were empires that gained territory a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, taking over one kingdom and then another one and then another one, and advancing, an advancing force. But no, this says, everyone's going to be fighting. There's going to be, ethnos will rise against ethnos, kingdom against kingdom, nation against nation. This is a world war. And, here in recent history, we've had World War One, World War Two, and I wonder, what is the average or the percentage of Christians in the body of Christ that are considering this? I go to church on Sundays and hardly ever hear these topics being touched, you know, and I follow some online preachers, thankfully, that do, that really helped me open up my eyes to this as well. But one of the things is basically a penny, a, a measure of barley and a measure of wheat for a penny, right? World inflation. I made that video about that necklace. Necklace is not a great investment, but you know, one thing that's happening right now is world inflation. And I think that people that look to be, that are looking at this eschatology, end times, you know, whether you believe in the rapture, you know, pre, mid, post, personally, and maybe sometime in the future I'll explain why I believe that the rapture happens at the end of the 7 year tribulation, because it is on the day of the Lord. People think that you're saved from the tribulation. I believe that we're saved from the wrath of God on that day, the day of the Lord. But regardless, um, the body of Christ should be getting ready and prepping people for these things, and I don't see it happening. But anyhow, this screen that we're looking at here on the background is a website called usdebtclock.org. And so I guess the story goes that there was a guy that had put up a digital display in the Times Square or wherever the stock market, is, and that it was tallying the national debt because he was concerned at the rate that the national debt was increasing. And it turned out that display ran out of digits to put on, and he had to get a new one, and then a new one, and they had to keep replacing it until eventually it became just this website taking measure of all these metrics. And right now, as of today, the U.S. is in the national U.S. debt is, almost at $36 trillion and counting very quickly. And, it's not stopping, and people seem to think that you could pay a credit card with another credit card, and that could never work. A lot of the world right now is de-dollarizing. We've just seen the BRICS nations getting together, and they are already planning on starting a new world exchange mechanism with a new cryptocurrency that's going to be backed by a basket of currencies, of which gold would make up 40% of it. So basically, partially a gold standard again. And a lot of things are overpriced. This is really a deep topic to get into, but I just wanted to say that one of the things, I unfortunately haven't become wise to this till not too long ago. So I invested, into land. But this is a time to if at all possible, really retract from a lot of the things that are overpriced in the world and things that are overvalued. And one thing that a lot of people in the prepping community I see are doing that I think is smart is investing into land, which is what I did. But something that I should look into the future, and many of us should, is looking into beginning to invest in a precious metal, even if it's a little bit. I don't have too much capability, but whenever possible, to purchase some silver. Gold's too expensive now. But, I think that this clock here, one of the metrics that it shows that I learned in one of the channels, is the tracking of the digital markets of gold and silver and what they sell in the futures market versus what the monthly production is. And knowing that silver is the most industrially used metal in all the world. It has the highest electrical conductivity, highest thermal conductivity. Basically, the most useful metal, which, by the way, apparently they ding it for. They say that it doesn't go up at the rate that it should because it's also an industrial metal. Well, the reason that gold and silver became a means of exchange in the first place was because of the usefulness that they have, was because of the reason that they were desired. That's what made it, uh, gave it the value, you know, and to be used for exchange. Uh, Being used for exchange is not what gave it the value. It had value to begin. And so the fact that this precious metal has found so many more uses in recent history, industrially, doesn't take away from the value. It adds to it, and I don't know what kind of upside world we're living in, or why people's brains appear to be, on backwards. But I'm gonna break down here some of the ones I was looking at, and it is right here, the paper, the paper to silver ratio, and the paper to gold ratio, right here. Take a look at that. Right there, where you're looking at 409.23 to 1. What does that mean? That means that this year so far, they're outselling the production of silver. And by the way, silver industrially is already scarce. The production is not enough. It's not enough. Recently on CNBC, the president of the Silver Institute, which is an organization that tracks the usage in different industries of silver, they're the ones that keep all the stats, and said that silver has been running at a deficit for the past 4 consecutive years. So it's something that's running at a deficit, and you have a futures market that is selling fictitious promises of something that does not exist at a rate of 409.23 to 1. For every 1 ounce of silver that has been mined this year, they have sold in the paper electronic market, futures market, that should never have existed for these precious metals in the first place, is 409.23. Why shouldn't have these markets existed? Because it is a means of manipulation. It is a means of manipulation. The price of things are based off of supply and demand. The more that something is in demand, the more money it costs. The more that there is a supply of it, the demand decreases and it becomes cheaper, right? So when you have a futures market where huge investors, rich men that could go on there and say, I'm going to invest $50 million in gold or silver, and they store it in these vaults where the COMEX and the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, theoretically store it for you in vaults, which is a lie. They're not. And then when you go to close the contract and request delivery, they have clauses on their contracts, and you can look this up yourself, that allows them to close the contracts in cash, right? So they're never going to be left in the blind, right? This is the mechanism that they use to not demonstrate that currencies are completely plummeting, right? When you can create an infinite fictitious amount of a precious metal that doesn't exist and dump it at will on the market, you could essentially dump the price of these metals with a press of a button. Anyhow, the world is de-dollarizing, the dollar's losing power, and this debt-based system seems to be coming to an end. And I just wanted to share with you guys that you should consider as one of your preparations, perhaps investing into silver and gold. Um, and this is just one of the things that I wanted to touch on. But I don't know. Maybe this could give us something to chat about in the comment section. I hope I'll be looking forward to and hope that somebody can comment on there. We can have a discussion there. Uh, and anyhow, thank you for your time and have a nice rest of your evening.